Congressman, we know voting rights is a massively important cause. But are you concerned about the optics? Lawmakers fleeing Texas now for weeks and weeks when there's a whole lot of other things that Texas voters need and want tended to day in and day out.
These Democratic legislators from Texas are absolute heroes because not only are they trying to stop voter suppression here in Texas, not only are they trying to advance voting rights in the one place where it can be won, the United States Senate with the leadership of President Biden, but they understand the connections to the fact that Texas has a minimum wage of $7.25 an hour. It's the least insured state in the country, which means that folks are dying of diabetes and the flu and curable cancers because they just cannot see a doctor. So if we want to fix these things, people have to be able to vote. And Texans understand that. And it's why all of us support those legislators who are willing to put all of it on the line for all of us. And we're going to do our part here in Texas, along with Bishop Barber and the Poor People's Campaign and the impacted people of this state. We will be rallying in front of the state capitol at 10 a.m. on Saturday. We want everyone to be there to stand up and be counted.
Bishop, these Democrats have been in D.C. since July 12th. It's about to be August. How long is this going to last? They can't stay there forever.
Well, I think it's bigger than that. We've been there since July 12th as well, engaged in massive moral direct action. You know, over 100 women 2 weeks ago, then more than 40 Senate officers last week. We're bringing hundreds of pastors and low-wage workers there this Monday. We've got hundreds of people joining us now of every race, creed, and color. 40 organizations joining the Poor People's Campaign and my brother Beto. Listen, the democracy is in trouble. If you say that we are seeing the worst attack since the Civil War, then the answer to that must be massive. And that's why we need to end the filibuster. Don't tell us it can't be done. We have to pass every provision of the Florida People's Act. We're not compromising. We're still pushing for it all. We got to have a restored Voting Rights Act, and we have to have 15 in the union and protect our immigrants. Why? Because the same people that are suppressing the vote, suppress living wages, suppress health care, suppress immigrant justice, right? This is not a binary black versus white issue. This is an American issue, and all Americans ought to be standing up and understanding that 56 million Americans used processes to vote last time other than, say, on election day. What these legislators are doing is trying to retrogress and take all of those opportunities away. If you destroy the infrastructure of the democracy, the bridge that gets us to all the other policies, it won't matter if you do infrastructure and build physical bridges because you will have crumbled the bridges of our democracy. We have to have an answer from Congress, federal action that meets the challenge of this moment.
You know what else doesn't matter? How I feel about it, how people around the country feel about it. It matters how Texans feel about this. Last month, the Texas Tribune and University of Texas found that 35% of registered Texas voters wanted to make voting rules more strict, and only 26% wanted them loosened. Congressman, can an argument be made that these restrictive voting bills, while I may think they're reprehensible, they actually represent what Texas voters want?
I don't know about that, because as I travel the state and listen to people, especially those most impacted, they want to make sure that it is easier for eligible voters to cast a ballot. 7 million Texans who were eligible in 2020 did not vote, and that's not for any lack of love of democracy. But Stephanie, imagine if we just took a poll in 1965 and said, should we pass voting rights? Is it popular enough or not? President Johnson wasn't waiting for the popularity test. He put it all on the line to advance the cause of a multiracial democracy in America where every eligible voter should vote. So that should be the true test of leadership, is whether you do the right thing when history calls, whether or not it's popular. So let's do the right thing now and pass the For the People Act in the U.S. Senate.
And Stephanie, one of the things we got to think about is the Constitution, the 15th Amendment, says that no state or entity can deny or abridge the right to vote. Congress swore to uphold the Constitution, not even popular opinion. But across this country, take, for instance, in West Virginia, 79% of West Virginians say to Manchin, you're wrong on this. You need to pass these expansive voting rights. You need to stop this filibuster, because they know This is hurting all of us, black people, white people, brown people, native, LGBTQ community, the disabled, the rural communities. Look, we have an attack on this democracy, and we ought to be asking this question. Why don't you want people to vote? Why is the U.S. Chamber of Commerce trying to undermine the For the People's Act? Why is there money involved and more than the United States Constitution? That's why we say to people in D.C., stand strong now. There are 4 things you got to deal with: access to the poll, gerrymandering, ethics, and money, so that we're not treating corporations like people and people like things. It's time for us to treat people like people and corporations like things, and make sure we open up the ballot to everybody. Why don't you want people to vote? That's the question. We should want that in a democracy.
Bishop, thank you. Congressman, before we go, while you're out there leading this march and knocking on doors and talking to people, do you want to run for governor of Texas?
I want to focus on this fight. This is the most important thing that we can be doing. And when we are joined by hundreds, thousands of our fellow Texans this Saturday in front of the state capitol at 10 a.m., along with, by the way, Willie Nelson,
that's right.
I think you're going to see the power in this state for a righteous cause, which is the right to vote. So that's the focus. That's the focus.